Welcome to another episode of the Sparty Update podcast. As usual, I'm Ivan Gutierrez with my co-hosts Edgar Torres and Sergio Valencia.
What up?
What up? Welcome back.
We are getting into the draft fallout this year. You know, there was a lot going on with other teams, with a lot of schools. Definitely a impact on San Jose State.
Definitely
now.
not the Mountain West.
Yeah, so we'll get into it all. What do you guys think about the draft?
I was happy. This is the first year I don't boo at or pick. In the first year in like 8 years that I don't boo at the pick.
I was kind of surprised these Niners didn't draft another D lineman.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought, Kyle Shanahan was gonna go full history on everyone, and then get the boring quarterback.
DUI State. No, I'm just kidding. DUI Jones. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be exciting, better than what the Raiders did, if we're being completely honest. But it's kind of weird, like.
Dude,
it balances out.
I feel bad for you guys.
I mean, it completely balanced out. They reach on a first round pick, and then they get a first rounder falling to them in the second round. So I mean, I don't know. Whatever.
I just didn't understand why they drafted 3 safeties when they already had
4 safeties.
Yeah, Carl Joseph,
Yeah.
Jonathan Abrams. It's
they suck, so they just gotta find one dude that's decent.
Trevor Moore makes sense though. He can play center fielder. He's gonna take that Earl Thomas role.
I mean, I hope. But since we are talking about the draft, we spent time around players who went from San Jose State to the draft. We grew up San Jose State fans.
Yes, sir.
And we saw guys, growing up as kids, and, we were fans of them at San Jose State, and then they went on the NFL, and, they may have had, there were certain careers or whatever. But let's talk about our favorite drafted San Jose State players. I mean, it can be anyone from the past. It can be anyone from the recent. Serge, we'll start with you. Who's your favorite Spartan in the NFL?
So let me start with just I guess a bonus one because he wasn't gonna be my original choice, but I'm gonna say the bonus one's gonna be Josh Oliver, obviously just because we were around him. Got to see him play for 3 years, and you can clearly tell that he was the best player.
He was a fucking monster, dude.
So it's like you can literally just have the whole team line up and be like, okay, who's gonna go to the league? And it's you point at Josh Oliver.
Yeah, you can tell because everyone's walking through the door and then you see this fucking 6'8", 260 monster walk through the door, and I'm just like
chiseled too.
Yeah, he's fucking body like a goddess.
Do you remember?
Whoa, God.
Yeah. Oh God, my bad.
Do you remember J.O. when he wasn't that big? I remember it was one year 2016 or 17.
I wasn't there yet. I just remember seeing him the first time. I'm like, this feels huge.
So he was big. He was a big guy, obviously. But then one winter or training camp or something, he came back and dude was just huge. He was bodybuilder huge. You're what the hell is this guy doing? But from that moment on, he went off. So it must have been 17. So going into his 18 year, because he got drafted in 2019.
That's when I got there.
He was pulling the LeBron going to Europe.
But I mean, he got big. But I mean, it didn't affect his game. I mean, I think it affected his game as in he got better. It's not sometimes when guys get big, their game kind of gets affected, a la Tim Tebow and Brady Quinn.
Who?
Those bums. But yeah, it was kind of cool seeing J.O. From
Definitely.
what he was.
Yeah. So it was a great experience to be around the player, and then
I was kind of shocked he went 3rd round.
Yeah, exactly. It's oh shoot, this fool actually went pretty high.
We've seen recently, San Jose State players go undrafted or late rounds, but when you see
typical.
Yeah, you see a San Jose State player go 3rd round, you're like, whoa, what the?
I remember, he got drafted high 3rd round. I think it was 3rd round, 5th.
First 2 picks or 5.
Yeah, really early in the 3rd round. I honestly thought he was gonna go 2nd round or something because he was really good. But it was also was that the year Noah Fant got drafted, or was the other Iowa tight end? T.J. Hawkinson?
Hawkinson?
Oh yeah, T.J. Hawkinson. That's that same year.
Yeah, so he must have been the 2nd or 3rd guy. So I mean, I guess when you put it like that, tight end wise, he went pretty early. So that was kind of cool, especially at the time he was the highest highest drafted San Jose State player in like 10 years.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah,
crazy.
a minute.
for sure.
So that
But
was
I
pretty
think he's dope. It's dope that he got traded to the Ravens now.
No, definitely.
It's
'cause
definitely a better chance because the Jags stink.
Yeah.
It's
I don't care.
It's a
I
tight
don't
end
care if
heavy.
they got Trevor Lawrence.
Tight end heavy scheme over there with the
Yeah.
Baltimore Ravens, so
Yeah.
you know he's gonna get featured.
They have what's his name? Andrews.
Yeah, Mark Andrews, but then their second string was what's his name, Nick Boyle. That fool was
Oh, yeah.
so slow. He's more of like a huge fullback
Yeah,
or
like a blocking tight end.
a blocking tight end. So you can tell this past season that Lamar Jackson missed Hayden Hurst, who they traded to the Falcons,
Right.
who was another like move
And he
tight
went
end.
off too, right, for the Falcons?
He did
Yeah, he
cool.
did
He
decent.
did decent. But definitely not probably worth the trade value that they gave up from.
Nah, it's good. It's good he got out of Jacksonville. Though,
So
for sure.
you all know that, those touches should be there if he stays healthy.
Yeah.
Because I know that's been one of the big things for Jo is staying healthy. Because I know was it his last year here? He played like the whole season hurt.
I
would
think
ba-
his shoulder, right?
he would
Something
barely
like that.
even-
Shoulder.
he
I
would-
remember he had that like wrapped up like crazy.
every game.
He
Yeah.
looked like a starting pitcher. Like,
barely even practiced, but it was like game day. He was ready to
He
go.
was still going off.
Dude, I think I spoke a lot about who he was.
That year he was on that team, I was just like, whatever you do, just throw to Jo. Like, don't throw to any receiver. Just
And
throw to
everyone knew they were throwing to Jo, and he still
get it,
got it.
yeah.
Bro, he was bought it. There was because that year I think I helped making highlights and stuff, and there was a few like he just like stiff armed the shit out of someone.
Yeah.
Like a
Dude,
few
he was
games.
massive.
And he would like hurdle over dudes
I think
too.
he was-
the Fresno game. The Fresno State
Dude,
game.
he was athletic as
Yeah,
hell.
he was super athletic. He would make like the most ridiculous catches too.
Yeah.
It'd be like for a dude that big and that like size, you would think he'd be super stiff, but like he looked like a ballerina out there just making these like spectacular
He
catches.
does like a 360, like almost like.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember a
shoulder.
sick catch. I don't know.
Nah, he had a few.
He had a couple, yeah.
There's
for
one.
sure.
There's one I remember. I think this must have been the Fresno State game. Where,
Oh.
like, he caught it like one-handed, like 360. Like it was pretty.
The
nuts.
catch against Oregon when he mossed that dude.
Oh yeah.
Like the corner where J Love threw it, and like I was like, oh man, this might be picked, and nope. He mossed the dude with like two dudes draped on him, and then I think he got 1 foot in.
Yeah.
It was a touchdown. I was like, whoa.
Because they reviewed it.
Yeah, I was like, damn, that was raw.
That was cool. Well, so on that, who would you say it sounds like Jo is your favorite player.
Nah, dude, I'm gonna go outside the box. I'm gonna go San Jose legend, Niner legend, Joe Nedney, the left-footed kicker, and Jeff Garcia. But that's because I'm just a Niner fan.
Hey, Jeff Garcia was on the radio giving San Jose State some love.
I saw that. I heard that.
I pulled up to the gym and it was like Jeff Garcia, like, oh, we'll see what's up.
He was
And
on.
he's
Yeah,
like,
he was on the game, right? 95.7 the
And
game.
he was like, oh yeah, there's a little guy or there's someone down at San Jose, Nick Starkel, and they were talking about Trey Lance and like mobile and everything, and that perked my ears. I was like, what? So who'd you say? You said Jeff Garcia.
I said Jeff Garcia
and the kicker.
and the San Jose legend, Joe Nedney, the left-footed kicker.
How long was he a kicker for?
He was in the league for a minute, dude.
He was in the league for a while.
Dude, he hit bombs, bro.
He was on the Niners, right?
He was on the Niners, and I think he went to the Giants, and then that's all I got. Let me look.
Solid 8 years, I would
Dude,
say.
dude, he was definitely in the league for like a good, I mean, if you're a good kicker, you stay.
Oh, so that's pretty cool. The Niners had 2 San Jose State guys.
Joe Nedney, let's see. Here we go. I pull him up. He was in the league, dude. He was in the league from 1995 to 2010.
So 15 years.
Sheesh.
So there you go.
No,
Pretty successful.
he was good too.
What high school did you go to?
Santa Teresa High School.
Oh,
In San Jose.
Oh, okay. Well,
That's why I said San Jose legend.
Well, you went San Jose legend, local. I'll throw it down to Salinas. Since Salinas legend, I'll say my favorite player,
Scum.
San Jose State, is definitely David Fales. I would say, I don't really remember much about him in high school. I remember hearing some stuff because we kind of grew up in the same neighborhood. He went to a private school down there, Palma. And that's kind of like...
He went there for us?
Yeah, he went to Palma.
Dude, that
Dude,
team's always raw.
Dude, they scraped my...
Carrizosa went there.
They're always raw at football, dude.
Yeah, they're hella good.
I think they played my brother's high school team like a few years ago and just demolished them.
I think they always win their district, right?
Yeah, they're
They
like
always
the
win their
school.
district.
But
I
there's
always-
also really no competition. You got, San Jose, Salinas is all like you're not going to have the best athletes there. They have a really good soccer team.
Little short Mexican kids.
Yeah, you got hella paisas out there, so like it's easy to run on fools. So I would say David Fells definitely is my favorite San Jose State player, especially he's from Salinas. Had that great year, the Military Bowl year. Looking back on it, hindsight, maybe he should have came out that year.
He definitely should.
Definitely would have been top 5 quarterback coming out. But whatever.
Who's he on now? He's on the Lions too, right?
Is he still in
the
the league?
He was with the Jets.
He's still in the
I
league?
think he
If I
is.
remember
He's still in the league, yeah.
If I remember, I have it here.
David Fales.
He
is on
I'm pretty sure it was the Jets.
the Jets.
Yeah.
Nope, he is not signed.
Oh.
But he was his recent team 2019-2020 New York Jets.
Yeah, so he was awesome. And I remember, I don't know, he was just like your quintessential kind of
He could sling it.
quarterback.
Dude, I remember his junior year, after that huge season, they're like, if he comes out, he's first round or
What?
And then
Yeah.
projected going into that last season he was here.
Uh-huh.
I think I remember Daniel Jeremiah saying this is my QB1, and right after the draft he was like, for next year my QB1 is David Fales.
Damn,
but then
that's kinda
I
dope,
guess
though.
he had a iffy season.
Well,
and
anyone will tell you this in the area who follows San Jose State football, but McIntyre left and Carragher came in and completely ruined the team.
Snake.
So you have that, but I mean he was really cool. I think I think his player comp was like Carson Palmer, kind of like a pocket kind of quarterback that can sling.
There you
the
go
ball
again,
ish.
referencing back to USC.
Dude, I tried not to.
There you go.
I tried not to, but I just remember
Sometimes
his
I
player
think you
comp.
like USC more than San Jose State.
he probably had a list of USC
Yeah,
QBs
yeah.
as his player comp.
I know, right?
He's like a Matt Barkley.
Yeah.
Wait, they played at the same time.
All right, that's true. But in the spirit of the draft, since we talked about our favorite players, it's kind of been interesting with San Jose State. The school has definitely not really seen high draft picks, but that's not to say that they aren't foreign to not having any first round picks.
No, don't. Come on.
No, I'm
Last one was what? You said 1983?
1983, but
Come on, dog. That's pretty foreign.
I wasn't even born yet.
Yeah, I know. I was born 10 years later.
No, but I'm just saying it's still modern day football. I'm just trying to give the credit where it's due. I just ran through some numbers. We're looking at since 1940 because I like my numbers. 117 players have been drafted. So I mean, you're looking
That's
at
Bama in 2 years.
I know, but I mean.
Just kidding.
For a whole bunch of years, San Jose State really went through some bad years, but they were still getting players drafted, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of looked at a stretch of 3 straight years of player getting drafted, and maybe every other year. So generally speaking, for where San Jose State has been, not very successful. They still had some players of the league.
Bouncing around. It's always kind of cool to see San Jose State players.
Yeah, of course. And then in the 70s and early 80s, you had 6 first round picks. So in the stretch of
Damn, we were raw in the 80s then, huh?
Yeah, they're pretty good. It's pretty much called it the golden years of San Jose State. They went to a whole bunch of bowl games. Like I said, 6 first round picks. So the 70s and early 80s was pretty legit.
Well, we're about to go into our platinum years.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope. Let's hope.
2020s are our years.
Yeah, the roaring 20s at SEFQ.
We want Bama.
The one interesting thing I kind of found was, so the first ever pick from San Jose State was Roy Zimmerman in 1940. He was drafted in the 7th round by what is now the Washington football team.
Who?
He played for a few years. He made the Pro Bowl. He was an NFL.
He made a Pro Bowl?
He made a Pro Bowl.
What
he was
the
an NFL
hell?
champion, and get this, he was an All-Pro twice, and he led the league in interceptions.
Dude, this guy was kind of
So he's
nice,
a legend.
Huh? Yeah.
Bro, he's a legend. But where he's really a legend was his softball career.
Whoa.
So let me read you this a little bit. So for 26 years after his NFL career, he played professional fast-pitch softball and led his teams to 9 world titles. Here's a quote that I found. He developed the rise and the drop ball, which are now predominant pitches in any pitcher's arsenal. He pitched 2 perfect games and 6 no-hitters in the World Championship. He struck out all 21 during 1 perfect game. He's in the International Softball Congress Hall of Fame.
This is so weird.
And he's also in the Long Beach Softball Hall of Fame. I had no idea this existed. But there's this dude that gets no one talks about.
I didn't even know there was like a men's softball.
Dude, it used to be an Olympic sport.
Yeah,
I think.
But like for men?
Low pitch softball, yeah. It used to be like Team
this
USA.
This is fast pitch.
Oh, this is fast pitch?
So now,
oh, shit.
now pretty much only women play fast pitch softball.
Hey, bro,
but back in the days, and he was on 2 pro teams. Fresno had a team and Long Beach had a team. And he was like, Jake DeGrom or whatever, like untouchable back then. But
that's like wild.
But can you believe that? Like, I don't know. I feel like that's like a low key like San Jose State legend.
Why isn't there a statue at
Dude,
Safeco?
I'm saying in this rebuild, when you guys are adding these new luxury boxes, let's
at least give him like a plaque.
Let's get a placard of old Mr. Zimmerman. But I gotta say, we talked about our favorite players at San Jose State, but I gotta bring up which I think is probably the best player to ever come out of San Jose State. This is my opinion, just based on awards and whatnot. But I think I gotta give love to this guy. His name's Lewis Wright. In 1975, he was a first-round pick. He was actually the first ever first-round pick at San Jose State. He was 17th overall.
Damn.
He went to 5 Pro Bowls. He was
nice.
4-time All NFL first team, second team All Pro. He was on the 1970s All Decade team.
Damn.
He's in the Broncos Ring of Hall of Fame, and he's on the Broncos 50th anniversary team. So I gotta say, and he's definitely in the San Jose State Hall of Fame as well. But like, this dude needs to get some love too.
Why isn't there a statue of this guy?
I'm just like pointing out too.
Just give him all statues.
Probably the 2 best players to ever walk through San Jose State, and they never get talked about. So let's throw some love on those guys. Shout out Lewis Wright and
if they're still
Roy
alive.
Zimmerman. Roy Zimmerman is not alive. He died in 1997. Lewis Wright, though, I think he is. I think he's still alive. And Gil Bird is another great player from San Jose State, who right now is a DB coach at Illinois. So he balled out. And we talked about J.O. J.O. was the last drafted player from San Jose State. So hopefully we'll get into it a little bit.
We gotta shout out James Jones. What the
and
heck?
of course James Jones.
He won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, James Jones.
That was sick.
Yeah, I would say, I think from what I found, he's the last player from San Jose State to win a Super Bowl, which, of course makes sense. Benet Benwickery was on the Panthers Super Bowl team.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But, they didn't win a Super Bowl. But
and then he got cut because he got burned by Julio. But then who doesn't?
Dude, Julio ended his career.
Yeah, that was like the year. That was the year he had like 300 yards in one game, right?
Yeah.
He was literally cut the next day.
He was cut the next day.
Literally the next day.
They were
crazy.
just like, hey, where's your locker? Dude, don't forget about it.
They pull up the stats as soon as he pulled up the locker. He's like, so we see Julio had 330 yards. Yeah, you're cut.
Hey, he's still in the league though, so he's just been bouncing around.
Yeah.
Props to him.
Getting his money.
Current players in the league. There's currently 8. We got 8 players in the league.
No shit.
There's 8 players.
Go rattle them off.
So we got J Love is the most recent one.
Shout out J Love.
Technically on the Browns. Got picked up.
Yeah.
Keith Smith. We got J.O., who's recently got traded to
the Ravens.
Ravens, you're right. And then the 2 recent guys, Trey Walker and Bailey, both undrafted guys. Andre Chachere, Ghost of the Past, who was really good. But
Ghost of the Past.
I remember.
Hey, he's still on the team.
Dude, he was so good. And then I think a new coaching staff definitely hurt him. Because when he was with Will Harris, who's now the DB coach at UW, he was awesome. Dude, he was legit a shutdown corner. That 2015 year into the Cure Bowl.
Didn't he have like hella picks that year?
Dude, he was a monster.
Dude,
I think he had like a second, third round grade on him.
Yeah, he was so good. And coming into 16, he also had another good year. If I remember correctly, it wasn't as good as 15, but he definitely was good. And then Will Harris ends up leaving to UW, and then you get some new coaches in there. one reason or the other, they didn't really mix well. So had a down year. I don't think he got drafted.
No,
He's still in the league. He's about a fourth stringer with the Colts. Of course, you got David Quisenberry and then Wes Schweizer, who's a starter actually.
He's the best one, dude.
Dude, he's a monster.
He's the best one.
So good.
That old line for the Washington. I don't want. I want to be politically correct because I don't want
Washington football team.
Yeah.
WFT.
Yeah, WFT. I almost said the R word. My bad. Dude, that line's good, and he's been like consistently good.
If only they could have kept Trent Williams, huh?
Shout out to the Niners though.
So now that we talked about the past a little bit, we can get into what just happened. Bailey and Trey didn't get drafted.
I would say
Seriously, I thought they were, man.
Well, I didn't think Bailey would get drafted, but
Serge, let's start with you.
Yeah, give it to Serge because Serge is like the scout guy. I always go to him for like, hey, what do you think about this dude? And like, you think he's gonna get drafted? And he always like gives it to me straight. He's like, nah, he'll probably be late rounds. And I was like, fuck.
So I always had the opinion that Trey Walker would get drafted, but he would be like a 4th, 5th, 6th, like at worst 7th. But like obviously I thought he would get drafted. Even leading up to like the draft this year, I know PFF had him ranked like pretty decent, saying like giving him a 4th or 5th round grade, and then it was that 40 that killed him, like.
Dude, that 40, so seeing it, I was like, okay, that's not good. I didn't realize how not good it was. So compared to everyone else in the combine, it was the 43rd fastest among wide receivers.
Let's put this into perspective. I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan, right? Our first round pick, Zaven Collins, 6'4", 270 pounds, middle linebacker. 6'4", 270 pounds, ran the same 40-yard dash as Trey Walker.
Oh my God, that's rough. See, and I think
that dude's moving, then.
I think sometimes seeing the draft and just looking at it as a fan and like having some little bit of experience, like talking with scouts in the NFL and whatnot, I think some guys pass the shirts and shorts test.
Yeah.
And then you have
guys
who
and
there's always guys that get drafted higher because their measurements and all that stuff.
Of course.
Get out.
But I think
draft day heroes, is that what they call them?
Yeah, but
workout heroes.
Oh,
workout warriors.
Yeah, workout warriors. Yeah. But I think guys like that definitely make up for maybe not having the biggest body of work in college. Even though Trey did have, he played since he was a true freshman, but I would say even though his first few years weren't all that, I mean, they were good.
I always saw the talent. I always thought
the talent was there.
Since his freshman year, like I was telling you guys earlier, I thought he should have been getting more snaps. Obviously, there's probably a lot of like off the field stuff that probably went on as to why he didn't get a lot of snaps his freshman and even his sophomore year. But like, you can clearly tell he was better.
If he, I don't know. I don't want to speak to any of his like work ethic or anything. Like, I mean, we saw it, but I don't know what else was going on.
Just because he's not a USC guy, huh?
No, but like he definitely was the best receiver on the team. Maybe once Bailey really like stood out, because they both kind of had their breakout year at the same time, ish. I'd say like
for sure.
Trey's kind of was 18. They definitely both were legit 19 and 20.
Yeah.
So I would say that 18 year was like that transition.
They came up together.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I think they were both very like, comparable in the sense that they both kind of took a little bit to progress. But back to my point was like, I think, still he didn't have the years of body of work compared to someone who balled out 1 or 2 years in the SEC or whatever. So I think having a good combine or a good pro day definitely would have made up for that, So seeing that he ran a 4.58 when you're supposed to be the speedy number 1 receiver, I don't know if it's.
I never looked at him as a speedy receiver though. I always thought like he ran like good routes and like caught everything that came his way.
I've always compared him to like. It's not like a straight up comp because my comp for him is
guy?
No. It's Michael Thomas from the Saints, but smaller.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So it's like a baby Mike Thomas because Mike Thomas is not fast, but he wins off the line. He creates separation with his hands, his footwork, smooth route running. So he doesn't have to rely on his speed. Mm-hmm. So I think Trey is one of those players where and him being smaller and a little skinnier,
Yeah.
he's got a little more like quickness and umph in his step.
Yeah.
I would say probably
I see that.
a quicker first step, like just like on a curl route when he pumps his arms and like flips his hips, like it's so hard to guard. Like if the DB's like rolling back and he can flip his hips and just stop on a dime, like you know, he's getting separation off of that like easy. So I guess we can kind of go into like him fitting in with the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah, because he got picked up by the Bills.
Because since he got picked up by the Bills, I think it's
if
like,
you don't know by now, he got picked up by the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah. So
undrafted.
So him falling there, I think is like, it sucks because there's a lot of receivers ahead of you, but at the same time, you have Cole Beasley and Stephon Diggs to learn from, and Emmanuel Sanders,
And Devin Funches.
who's
Emmanuel Sanders
Oh,
on the
no,
Bills
no.
again?
No,
Oh,
he's
that's
not.
right.
yeah. So these are all route runners.
Cole Beasley's cold.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean. Yeah.
See, these are all route runners.
Yeah, Cole
and
Beasley's raw.
So, he can ultimately like maybe sit behind Cole Beasley for another 2 years. By the next 2 years, I don't think Beasley's gonna be relevant anymore.
Yeah.
So he can transition into that starting slot guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think with him, you know, going to the Bills, I think definitely, you know, will help, especially because you have those guys that you just said, Serge. I think, you know, their offense kind of with Josh Allen, kind of like a really like deep ball threat, kind of emulates a lot of almost like what you see like Mountain West. You know, a lot of deep plays, a lot of, you know, emphasis on, you know, route running and kind of like just almost like home run hitting. You know, you saw a lot with Stephon Diggs, and I think, you know, San Jose State in many ways complements that really well. So I think he'll have a good understanding.
Dude, I really wish he went to the Niners because the Niners needed to draft receivers, and they didn't draft any receivers. They signed them undrafted, but I really wished we could have gotten them.
Yeah, you know, and you know, the thing with like going undrafted, you know, obviously everyone wants to get drafted, but I feel like honestly, if you don't get drafted within 1 through 5, I mean, going undrafted is.
That's what I hear. Yeah.
You know, it's because like one, you get to pick who you want to go to.
Exactly.
Because like, if you get drafted, the money is generally the same. 6, 7. Obviously, the lower you go, the less guaranteed money and like the less money per year. But I mean, we're talking, I mean, generally the same money. Obviously, it's
but
nowhere near.
I guess it goes to like, do you want to be Jabril Cox, who was the Cowboys' 4th, 5th round pick at linebacker, or do you want to be an undrafted linebacker and choose where you go? Because Jabril Cox is now going to be behind Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, the 1st round pick Micah Parsons. They signed Keanu Neal, who was a safety for the Falcons, to play linebacker. So that linebacker room is stacked. Yeah. So like, do you want to be that 4th?
Keanu Neal went to the Cowboys.
Yeah, recently. Yeah.
Damn.
So
pretty stacked.
Their linebackers are stacked, but they got no DBs.
Yeah, so that's why I always thought, I was like, man, like honestly, once you get into the 6th round and all those like compensation picks, and
those
like
guys are
round,
not even guaranteed, just like undrafted.
Yeah, because you're like, all right, now you're locked into a 4-year deal where they can cut you at any time, and you don't have a say in where you can go.
Yeah.
You know, you go undrafted, and then you have like all these teams calling you, and like you're pretty, even though you don't have like that 4-year contract, I mean, you have a chance to bet on yourself and like, all right, well, I can go here because, you know, the receiving core is not as strong or whatever, or I have a better chance here. Because I kind of saw it when I was with the Raiders, and it was kind of highlighted a little bit on Hard Knocks with Keelan Doss.
Yeah.
And there was actually like
what happened to him?
He's still with the Raiders.
He's still with the Raiders.
There was a bidding war. So he got paid. I think he got paid like more than any undrafted guy.
Oh, it's because
between us, or it was between the Raiders and the Jaguars.
And who even knows why he fell? Because I remember going into the draft. We played them that
he
year.
went off on us.
Yeah.
That was the unmentionable game, right?
Yeah, he went off against us, and the week after he went off against Stanford.
And he had like an amazing year too. And like leading up to the draft, I think he was like
It's definitely had
projected
playing at
4th
UC
round
Davis
pick.
definitely had to play a role, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why, and I think that's what kind of hurt, you know, Bailey and Trey is like, of course, Power 5 guys get the benefit of the doubt, because I think like if you have one good SEC year, probably equates to like what 3 good Mountain West years. You know, it's almost like dog years or something like that.
Damn.
See, but what sucks about like the scouting community and stuff is like that the whole like what school you go to, like you can play it both ways, right? Like Trey Lance, for example.
Oh yeah.
They're like, oh,
his
competition wasn't good, this and that, like, but you know, you started hearing scouts say like, you know, competition's competition, like, you know, it don't matter if he's a D1, D2, like the window should be the same, you know,
Yeah.
like, from
You shredded him.
yeah. But then like when it comes to like a different position or whatever,
That's
or
why-
a different player, it's like, oh yeah, no, the competition, like it clearly matters. But it's
And
like,
I feel like too, like positions also get benefit of the doubt.
yeah.
I feel like the quarterback position, because everyone's trying to reach and try to get their new star quarterback, or they're
Mhm.
trying to get the face of the franchise. So I think they can also look over a lot of stuff too. Because
For sure.
honestly, like if you look at Trey Lance, like for example, he had the least amount of snaps
Yeah.
like in the history of any quarterback coming into the draft.
Yeah.
And then you have someone like Davis Mills at Stanford, got drafted in the 3rd round. He only had 11 career starts. Technically, he never had a full season. So, like, I think you can always look over, you know, depending on
You
position
know what kind
or
of
whatever.
comparison you can make is that Kellen Moore and Ryan Tannehill comparison.
Oh yeah.
It's like Kellen Moore broke all these quarterback records and, you know, went to school all 4 years, and Ryan Tannehill plays 1 year of quarterback in the SEC and gets drafted in the 1st round. Kellen Moore goes like 6th round,
Yeah.
and then ends up being just a coach.
Yeah, so I think, you know, like little stuff like that, and like, I mean, you hear it every year in the draft. You hear it every time someone doesn't.
sucks.
Yeah, someone doesn't work out. It's like, oh, you know, that's the draft. That's, you know, you can't predict anyone. So I think, you know, Trey and Bailey fall into that a little bit. You know, they put out great years. I mean, if you look at 2020, you know, I'm looking at Trey right here, you know, 2nd team All Mountain West, named to the Blitnikoff Award and Maxwell Trophy, led the team in pass reception, 2nd in receiving yards. In 2019, he was the 1st team All Mountain West.
That 19th season was crazy.
You know, and then you look at Bailey, 2020, he was 1st team All Mountain West. He played and started in every game. He led the team in receiving yards and yards per catch. In 19, he was an honorable mention. So it's like, can you imagine
That's because
someone
he got
like
hurt,
that?
though.
I know. I know injuries play a factor, but can you imagine that same like literature and like numbers, and you put it in like Big 10 or
Yeah.
Big 12? It's like, oh, that's a 1st round pick.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
who cares? People will easily look over. Oh, you know, what about his freshman and sophomore year? You know, people will easily look over
They're
that.
literally playing special teams. It's like, give them a
Exactly.
break, dude.
So it's like,
But I think that whole injury stuff definitely played into
Oh, yeah, for
Bailey,
sure.
because
yeah.
what was it 16? No, 17 and 18, right, is when he was hurt. Like,
Bailey?
yeah,
Isn't it he tore or something?
I think 18, he only played in 4 games, if I remember
He like
correctly.
messed up his Achilles or something.
yeah.
right?
I remember he like messed up his Achilles one
And then was
time.
that Hawaii game too, because that dude landed on him, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that dude landed weird on him.
But even like I think the year before, he barely even played because he was always hurt, and
Yeah,
so he's got that injury prone label.
yeah. So Bailey has
So,
the
like,
injury issue. You know, that's what definitely factored into it. And Trey had the character issue. I mean, honestly, his tenure at San Jose State ended really weird.
Definitely.
It was like, I'm transferring, and then it was like nothing for like a month, and then he's like, oh, he's going to like Mississippi State, and then it's like the whole thing with his grades. So like the little bit that I've talked to scouts, I remember when my time with the Raiders, and you know, it's draft season, you're like, oh, why don't you go with this, or like, you know, what about this guy? And they tell you little things that they look at, and I mean, they're splitting hairs when you're trying to draft a player. You're like, am I going to get this guy who's put up these great numbers? Oh, but what's up with this character issue? Oh, his grades weren't there. Why weren't his grades there? So it's like they look at just the littlest nuances. So
Which is wild, because like you see Mac Jones, and he's had 2 DUIs, and he almost went top. He was supposed to go top 10.
yeah.
or you have Reuben Foster, who
Oh,
Well, dude, that's the thing.
Goes
with Alabama,
first
man,
round.
like
don't remind me.
it's becoming like out there that they just
Bust.
cover everything up. And from what I've heard of like a lot of SEC schools,
Not unless you're Laramie Tunsil.
yeah.
that was not even that bad, dude. He was just smoking.
I know, yeah. But do you remember how?
You know those like white owners who like, oh, he's smoking marijuana. Get him out of here.
That Jazz Cabbage, and do you remember? You remember when he got drafted? He had that player that post conference, and they were asking him about, oh, did you get paid at Mississippi State? Yes, I did. And then like the PR lady just like pulled him off. Dude, look it up. look at Larry Tunsil's like draft day press conference, and they're like, "What about these reports about you getting paid or something like that at Mississippi State?" He's like, "Yes, I took the money," and he was like, "Dude, he did not shut up. He was just vomit of the mouth." And then this PR lady awkwardly was like, "No more questions," and then just took him off. But
That's hella funny.
but that's the thing, man. Like that's why I think. I mean, that's the thing with everyone. It's like, all right, this person stayed healthy and played all year. All right, Trey played another year. Everything was good. So it's just like,
Joe Mixon went second round.
Oh my God.
And that one was brutal.
I guess we touched on a little bit on why we think happened what happened. With these guys not getting drafted. I mean, it was pretty foreseeable. I honestly thought they were gonna get drafted. Some were in the 6th.
Didn't someone bet you?
Someone told me that they were gonna bet me that Trey got drafted in the 4th round. That didn't happen.
Was it just like 4th round? It's like
if I remember,
if he would have got drafted in the 5th or 6th or whatever.
You know what's funny though? He's probably naive like I was, because I thought in 2019 I was like, fuck, if Trey goes out, if Trey goes pro next year, I'm like, he's gonna get drafted like 3rd round, 4th round. But then I talked to Serge, of course, and he's like, you're right. He's like, he'll go like 5th or 6th round at best. And I was like,
I thought he was gonna be like 6th or 7th. Well, I was like, all right, he's definitely gonna be a 3rd day guy. That Saturday, I was like, all right, he's gonna get Bailey or Trey. Like,
so what was his bet though?
I'm pretty sure it was just like $5. It was like $5 that he gets drafted in the 4th round. I'm like, what are you, an idiot? Like, that's stupid. I should have asked for more. But I was like, there's no way. Like, and when he didn't get drafted, I was like,
I was kind of bummed. I was like, I thought he was gonna get drafted.
I definitely thought like 6th or 7th.
Yeah, that would have been sick to see. I'm like,
I was like,
okay, but then I was like,
I would feel like someone is like, all right, here's this guy, or character issue or injury issue, whoever we're talking about, Bailey or Trey, and I was like, oh, we'll take a chance on him, but it didn't happen.
Well, of the two, I think Bailey probably has the better chance to make an immediate impact.
Think so?
Well, just because they have Packers have no receivers. Like besides Devontae Adams, maybe what's the Alan Lazard is maybe
he's still on the rise though, right?
Yeah, but he's a big body receiver who could barely move and
barely catch too. Remember he had that drop.
Yeah, so it's like, and then what's the other dude's MVS Marquez Valdez-Scantling? He torched us.
Oh yeah.
He was that receiver. No. He was a receiver for University of South Florida. Remember they came and played us here?
They played us here,
and it was like this tall, like super fast dude. I think he was like number 7 or number 1.
You want to know something funny about that game? Up until game day, I thought we were playing University of San Francisco.
Dude, they don't even have a football team.
I know. I didn't know, dude. I don't.
Yeah. You just kept saying USF.
The whole time, like, I shit you not. From the moment like we saw the schedule,
I think they did have a football team, but back in the days, they played at Keyser too.
Yeah, I was like USF. I was like, oh, I know USF, University of San Francisco. I was like, all right, this is gonna be dope. And then, because we used to have the old recruiting guy, Corey. Remember Corey Geist? Really cool guy.
Dude, his Twitter just popped up on my feed recently, and I don't even think he's in sports anymore.
No, he's not. He left to Google. I mean, he was dope,
what
but he
events.
But he went to USF, right? And I was like, oh, like it's cool, like, but it was University of San Francisco. So I was like, all right. And then I saw, I was like, South Florida. I was like, what the fuck? Like, this whole time I thought it was San Francisco, but whatever. But as you mentioned on who has the best chance of making the team, both these guys have a pretty big uphill battle.
For sure.
Roster moves are going to come and go, but Packers are looking at currently 10 receivers, and Trey with the Bills, you're looking at 11 receivers.
Damn, you didn't mention that.
Yeah.
Damn, that's hella.
They got 11 receivers. Bailey is actually the only other rookie in that receiving core. I mean, you have 1 year, 2 year guys, whatever. They might just be camp legs or whatever.
Yeah.
But you already know what you have in, like, what's his name? Economia St. Brown.
Ugh.
Nothing. You don't have nothing.
Not all that.
And then who's the dude they just cut that, like, Aaron Rodgers was like, that's the nail in the coffin. I'm going out of here.
Last year, yeah.
Who was it?
Jake Kunfro or Kunfro. It was white
tight end?
White boy
No,
receiver. He was like number 16. But it's like, bro, Well, for one, like Aaron Rodgers, why are you getting mad because the fifth string got cut?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
who cares?
If anything, you can make them better.
Yeah,
if you
but like,
sling it.
if you put the Packers number 2 through 4 receivers on any other team, they're probably 4 to 6. You know, like
Yeah.
they're not that great of a receiver. So I think Bailey can go in there. He's probably gonna be one of the faster ones on the team because I don't know if the Packers have any speed at the position.
Oh no way.
So if they need a receiver to blow the top off, it's gonna be Bailey.
For sure.
You know, I kind of see this as
Jordy Nelson.
so. I mean, honestly,
2.0.
you know, honestly speaking, I think these guys will be on a practice squad. That's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll be out of the league. I think they're too good not to be at least on a practice squad.
Hopefully Trey doesn't make the Bills and just comes to the Niners.
Well, but this is kind of what's going to be interesting about it, is that they may have this huge uphill climb and like trying to make the team, but when you get to the end of training camp, you have to pick guys, and if you don't pick guys, you essentially cut them, and then they make kind of like the waiver wire. So I mean, these guys can really ball out in training camp and preseason. Now we have a shortened preseason; it's only 3 games.
Facts.
But I think there's a chance that even though they don't make either of these teams, they can easily get picked up somewhere else. You know,
Sure.
maybe they do. Bailey comes home to.
They can do the practice squad circuit because I know practice squad is like 4 years max, and then after that
You make a pretty good living.
for 4 years, why not?
You make like at least $100K.
Yeah,
You just
to play football.
Yeah, and you just don't travel. Well, depending on different teams. When I was with the Raiders, we didn't travel practice squad guys, but you pretty much just like get paid a lot of money just to work out. It's kind of dope. But I think between Bailey and Trey, I definitely think if I was gonna pick either to make a team, I definitely think it's Bailey because I think, as you know, your best availability is being available, and I'm not talking about injuries specifically, but I think Bailey has proven to be a really good special teamer. I think he has the ability to punt, like receive punts and kickoffs.
Oh, yeah.
So he was pretty good kick returner.
And shout out San Jose State because didn't Trey Walker also he was on the punt team, so he was out there making tackles and stuff, playing special teams.
Oh yeah.
So shout out San Jose State for like putting him out there on punt team because it's like, now are you gonna keep a receiver that only plays receiver, or are you gonna keep the receiver that can go run punts down too?
Yeah, like a gunner.
Yeah, gunner.
Yeah.
That's how Raheem Mostert got a shot.
Facts.
Yeah, I saw it.
When I look at Raheem Mostert.
And you know who loves special teams players? The Patriots. They give players big money. What was that? Matthew Slater, that one receiver.
Oh yeah, he's still on them, right?
And then I remember the Cardinals
the
had.
white dude, he used to
No, he's
score like 43 on the Patriots too. He had the long hair. Damn.
Oh, I think
He went to Ohio State.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I picture him. I have no idea what
Yeah,
his
I
name
can't
is.
think of his name either.
And then the Cardinals had like this dude named Justin Bethel who.
Remember him?
Yeah, he was a Pro Bowler and stuff because he was the gunner and stuff, and
I remember
the
that.
Patriots gave him more money than we offered him to go play special teams. I was like,
Yeah.
It's like Hakeem Guzman. Remember him? That special team.
I don't know, but
Kazam Goodman or Guzman.
somebody.
He was a Niner goat too. Good special
Yeah.
teamer.
because that's one thing that doesn't really get talked about. But go ahead, Serge.
It's a randomized thought because you said Niner goat.
Yeah.
You know who gets disrespected in the Niners like history? That one fool, Brandon Lloyd.
Oh, Brandon Lloyd was pretty good.
Dude,
Pretty good.
he was raw.
He was, but
He like
He was in the lost
I-
of the Niners though. I think
yeah.
that's why.
I wouldn't put him up there as like a Randy Moss, but like as
He
far
makes
as
dummy
far as
catches.
catches, just the catches
he made some
themselves,
dummy catches.
his catches were ridiculous. Like in Madden, he'd probably have like a 99 overall spectacular catch because it's just fucking. That's how good his hands were.
I remember the Niners had him, and then at the same time the Raiders were just as bad, and we had Jerry Porter.
He was
kind of like I feel
no, he was raw
very
too.
the same. 84. But yeah, going back to that point about special teams, and I think I think it's going to help these guys a lot that they have special teams experience and will help them make a team, especially Bailey, because he's proven to do it at a really high level. It's I don't know. I feel like sometimes that it definitely gets overlooked with like undrafted guys or guys that get drafted late and ball out in special teams. You know, I was in countless like new rookie meetings and like kind of like presentations where like I guess you can say like the scrubs of the team was like trying to make the last roster spot and like special teams coach or like whoever was just like, you want to make this team, you got to make it on special teams. And I think what helps these guys is they have that experience. You know, I think of guys like Terrell Davis who ended up being a Hall of Famer, 7th round running back, but he was great on special teams.
6th round.
Or 6th round?
Yeah.
Oh, well, late round guy who probably was not going to make the team, good. But I think it helps with special teams, is that these guys were at special teams. But let's look on forward to the 2020 draft. It's going to be in Las Vegas. It's going to be pretty nutty.
You mean the 2022?
2022, what did I say?
2020?
Yeah. Just looking back.
We're still stuck in this year.
But
2021. Holy shit.
But we're looking on to the 2022 draft. It's going to be on the Strip. It's going to be pretty dope.
I want to go to that.
Yeah, it should be pretty cool, man.
That would be lit.
Yeah, that would be cool.
We'll see what happens. But Serge, so we're talking about guys to look at, both San Jose State and the Mountain West. But going into this next year or this coming up year, and then into the following draft, who's someone that we should be keeping our eyes on?
So I can tell you right now that based on like this past draft, only 3 players from the Mountain West got drafted. That's not happening. There's going to be a lot more this year. Just to start off with San Jose State, maybe 2 like draftable players, which will be Jack Snyder.
Yep.
Definitely.
And Nick Starkel. So.
Really, you don't think Cade Hall?
Oh yeah, and Cade Hall. My bad. My bad. Just completely blanked on him. But yeah, so those three is gonna be Jack Snyder, Nick Starkel, and Cade Hall. To me personally, of the 3, Jack Snyder is probably a lock, because
for sure
you could never have too many linemen, and
that's true. And
his improvement year to year is like you can see it. So it's like he's gonna have another year under his belt.
And those San Jose State linemen, man,
and
they always make it.
Yeah. So if I would say his floor is probably like a 5th rounder.
No shit.
Yeah. So I think he'll go pretty high if he doesn't shit the bed,
Yeah.
Nick Starkel, he's gonna have to have another big season like he did this past year in order to even get drafted. But I'm talking drafted 4th to 7th round. Like he's gonna be.
If not, he could just come back for another year.
He's gonna be a journeyman backup QB. I don't see him ever like playing any meaningful snaps in the NFL. But if he balls out, he can probably make a team as their 2nd, 3rd round or 2nd, 3rd string QB.
Mm-hmm.
Cade Hall, he's the one where I would say he's probably our best player, like overall on the team now. But what sucks is he's small for his position. He's only 6'2", 260 playing DN. Like,
oh sheesh.
Yeah.
Yeah, compare that to like Khalil Mack or someone.
Exactly. So
yeah.
So like, one, he for his size, he's not uber athletic like another small dude was playing DN.
Yeah.
But the thing that like really sets him apart is his motor. Like he's always going. Like, he never gives up. He's fighting through everything. He'll fight through the garbage to go make the tackle for a loss or the sack.
Mm-hmm.
So teams obviously love that. And I know I made this joke before, but it's like it's just Jared Allen, right? Like it's that Jared Allen thing, like the white boy with the long hair. They Gilroy. Yeah, it's just like that motor. Then that's what Jared Allen was famous for, like his like nonstop motor. So I would say Cade Hall will have to have another big year in order to legitimize his draft stock. And then just to quickly, I guess, touch on a few from the Mountain West.
And these are guys too. These Mountain West guys is like not only are they potential draft picks, but they're also gonna be potential problems for the Spartans.
Yes, and
depending on who you're gonna talk about.
Well, none other than QB1 in the 2022 NFL Draft, Carson Strong.
Oh yeah, dude. You think he's gonna go 1?
I don't think he'll end up being number 1.
Where does he go to school?
Nevada. The
Oh,
QB.
that's him. Oh, that's.
Yeah,
Oh,
he's
we
like
talked about it
Heisman
last
watch.
episode. Oh,
Yeah.
So
remember him.
a few draft boards have him as QB1.
No shit.
Everyone right now is either like on Sam Howell or Keaton Slovis.
Don't say it.
So they're like teetering between those two. But honestly, I like Sam Howell. He's nice, but Carson Strong is just like, out of all the QBs, I would say he has the strongest arm.
And he's QB1.
To me, right now I would say he's my QB1. QB2 for me is that dude I sent you guys from the University of Liberty or Liberty University.
Really?
His name Malik Willis.
I didn't see it.
Dude,
I mean, I saw it, but I didn't see it.
he's like a Michael Vick 2.0. Like, he's insane. And I like those dual threat quarterbacks, which is the only reason I have Malik Willis so like high next to Carson Strong. But yeah, Carson Strong, 6'4", like 220. Last year he threw for 27 touchdowns, 2,858 yards.
And then, like, what, 4 interceptions? Or
Yeah, so he's a gunslinger type QB, huge arm. So he can have like he can be looked at as a Josh Allen, I would say. Just a lot more polished already.
Damn.
So like
something?
whatever.
Josh Allen wasn't all bad in college.
In college, you can see the potential in Josh
He just had a
Allen,
cannon.
but he was big and he had a cannon, but like his accuracy wasn't there and stuff. Carson Strong is accurate, so
Jeez.
he's gonna be a problem. Heisman watch. And then obviously because you have such a great QB, your receivers are gonna get like highlighted.
Yeah.
So then like Nevada's receiver Romeo Dubs, baller, 6'2", 215. Not sure how fast he is. He looked pretty fast when we played him, so we'll look.
Pretty fast when he burned us.
Yeah, so look forward to seeing what his 40-yard dash is. But he's one to watch out for. And then they also have the tight end Cole Turner, who's 6'6", 240. So and they
6 foot. Damn.
yeah, and he's
Like a JO.
he's a stretch tight end, so he's not gonna be like your blocking type tight end. He's gonna be out there catching passes and stuff. Don't have a player comp because he's huge and yeah.
I guess the easy one would be Gronk. That's without.
Kittle.
Yeah, but that's that's everyone. It's like your quintessential tight end. It's not a fair comp.
Yeah, because I would say Gronk probably had size on him, even though they're about like measurable wise, they're probably the same. But Gronk was just beefy.
Yeah.
He's massive.
Yeah, and then the defensive end from Colorado State, Scott Patchen. He came from the University of Miami,
The
so
U transfer, yeah.
obviously he's a ACC player playing in the Mountain West. So he's
Yeah, he's gonna eat.
he's eating.
Hopefully not on Jack Snyder though.
True. And then the only other one that I think like really has a legit shot is gonna be from Colorado State too.
Oh yeah.
Trey McBride.
Yeah, he's
So-
I would say he's probably their best offensive player.
Yeah, so I would say he's like one of those hybrid tight ends, not like a complete Kittle, but like like a Walmart version of Kittle.
Wally World.
A great value.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on the going back to the San Jose State point. I think not to say that Jack Snyder's a lock to get drafted. Obviously, you got to put in the tape this year. But I think if he has the same as last year, or maybe just a little bit not as good, I think he's still locked to get drafted.
Mm-hmm.
I think where you look at Cade Hall and Starkle, they need to have a perfect year.
Yeah.
I think Jack Snyder is there, and he can,
He can have a mediocre season.
yeah, and still get drafted.
It's just that's how much the league needs linemen.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely you can't have enough. I mean, guys drop left and right, especially now. It feels like the new sprained ankles.
How big is Jack Snyder?
It says right here.
You think he'll play a left tackle?
No, I don't think
He'll probably
Convert to a
well,
guard?
He's 6'5", 310 is what he's listed. So if anything, he can start inside, but he has the size as far as height and like weight. we'd probably have to check in on his arm length to see, because I know in the league that's a big thing. Like if he's got small like arms, then he's gonna get kicked inside.
Did you see the dude that the Niners drafted in the second round? The 6'7", 330 guard from Notre Dame?
Nah.
No.
330? That's a beefy ass fucking right
huge.
guard.
But you know,
Sorry to go out to top.
No, but
he's from the Bay though. So.
is he really? Where'd he go?
El Cerritos?
Oh, really? I had no idea. But Jack Snyder, I don't know, dude. I low key get like, Richie Incognito vibes.
Why? Because he's quiet?
No, not as not like character issues or like any of that shit. Just like
mean.
Player, like just like a guy just like blue collar, kind of just like
Nah, I
quiet
feel that.
and just like stocky. And because honestly, so like
he's built.
when I was with the Raiders, we had Richie, and he's still with the Raiders. But when I was there in 2019, dude, Richie Incognito, I mean, he's big, but dude, he's like not wide. He's probably like, I mean, I don't know, you can pull up his measurements, but like, I feel like he's like maybe 6'2", like compared to like other guys, especially when you had, you know, like a Colton Miller or like Rodney Hudson.
Yeah.
Like, he did not look like the biggest guy on the field, but dude, he is just like
tenacious.
6'3", 320.
Okay.
That's pretty huge.
but yeah, so that's big, but dude, like, I don't know where he's keeping his weight, because like he was just like a stocky dude, you know. He's not like when you saw like Trent Williams, or someone like that, where it's just like, dude, that's just freaking a massive guy.
Well, look at Joe Thomas now after he retired. Like
he dropped, dude.
He lost all
he's
that.
looking slim.
So it makes me think like a lot of these linemen are probably just big dudes to begin with, but like stay fat, or like they're forced to like be fat. Like they probably genetically aren't supposed to be fat, but the way they diet and stuff keeps them big and fat, so they can. You know?
I'm gonna go off topic a little bit, but that's 100% true. Because one thing I've always thought about is like, I feel like, and this may never happen, but I feel like, you know how as freshmen and like younger players, and even once you get to the NFL, they just built these guys up from like average size.
Well,
like,
Jack Snyder.
Yeah,
I remember his freshman year; he was so small.
So they just beef these guys up, and not even just with weight, but just with food. But I've seen guys who go out of the league, or like they graduate and they don't play, and they keep up those really bad habits, and like they just become like just huge like people with not needing to be huge. I've always kind of felt.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
I've kind of always felt like there should be like a program, like if you don't expect to be drafted or something, you're like, all right, you know, I'm not gonna go in the league. I know I'm not gonna make it. Maybe some schools should like have a like a weight loss program.
Speaking of slimming down, have you guys seen Troy Kowalski?
No.
Dude, he's slimmed down. He's yoked now.
Wow, that's good for him. Cause I've seen guys who, especially like.
Oh, he was supposed to get drafted too, no?
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be nice.
That dude was like the Undertaker. Long hair and like tattoos.
He had swag though.
Yeah, he was cool. He was a funny guy.
He was yadded up with those glasses and that long hair.
He was actually dating someone that like one of my coworkers from the bar was like.
No shit.
Yeah, I think she was best friends with his girlfriend or some shit like that. Anyways,
but yeah, so those are some really good people to look at. You know, I think the Mountain West should have a bounce back, because I mean, you have really good schools, even though it's not Power 5, it's not Pac-12 or whatever. Like San Diego State always has a bunch of players. Like Fresno State always has good players.
Yeah, I would say like Boise State and San Diego State are like guaranteed to give you a corner or a safety.
Yeah,
for sure.
So this was what'd you say, three guys?
Yeah, and it was the corner Avery Williams from Boise State, and then the corner from San Diego State Darren Hall, and then Boise State tight end, I forget his name now.
That's crazy. So hopefully next year we'll see a lot more Mountain West, and hopefully we'll see
more Spartans.
Spartan, by that point it's gonna be 3 years.
We're gonna have 3 first-round picks next year. You watch.
Well, we'll see. I definitely think Snyder has a chance. Cade Hall, and then Starkle needs to have
he needs to have another perfect season.
Have a great year. But
unanimous MVP of the league.
We're running back and see what happens. But we'll wrap things up. Thanks for tuning in. So don't forget to follow us on social. You pretty much hopefully now know our plugs. If not, they're going to be listed on the description. And of course, when we post this
Follow our OnlyFans too. 50% discount. Just kidding.
Hey, make sure to rate and review.
Yeah.
Yeah, like and subscribe, whatever.
Leave comments.
But yeah, thanks for listening, everyone. Stay tuned for the next episode. We have no idea what it's going to be yet, but we'll get into that. I'm Ivan Gutierrez for Serge and Edgar.
I'm Edgar.
And I'm Georgia.
All right, peace out.
Later,
Late.
everyone.
Sparty up.
Sparty up.